Alright boys and girls, so this past weekend I participated in Ludum. Now, I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments saying, "Oi, Nate, isn't it pronounced ludum dare?" And to answer those questions, okay, so according to this guy on the Ludum website, it's Latin and it's pronounced ludum dare. So, not surprisingly, I was right. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, "Oi, Nate, what's ludum dare? Is it one of those game jelly things?" Yes, it's a game jam. And if you don't know what that is, let me explain. There's a lot of game jams, so this obviously won't apply to all jams. But in a game jam, you pretty much just make a buggy and unfinished game in a really small amount of time, normally in increments of 24 hours. They're generally full of lots of stress and sleep deprivation, so I mean, what more could you want? Ludum Dare is no exception to this, and they've got a pretty massive list of rules that I'm not going to bore you with. But basically, you can either enter the compo or the jam. The compo is 48 hours long and is pretty much the jam, but hardcore mode. And the jam is 72 hours long and a lot more laid back. In the compo, you have to work alone, and I have no friends who are game developers, so I figured I would just enter that. A lot of sweaty game developers who participate in game jams sacrifice their sleep schedule just so they can have a better game. But I have stuff in the morning, so I can't afford to be running on 15 minutes of sleep. And so, I loaded up Unity and got, "Oi Nate, you didn't even tell us your idea, The theme for the jam was stuck in a loop, so the first thing that came to mind was being stuck in some sort of time loop. I was really inspired by this game I used to play called Johnny Upgrade. I'm guessing most of you have never heard or played it, so I'll give you a simple explanation on how it works. So first off, there's an in-game timer that will kill you when it hits 0. So, you run and jump a little bit, collect a coin, and then you die. You then take that coin and upgrade 1 or 2 of your stats. The next time you play, you get a little bit further into the level and collect more coins. You then take those coins and then you upgrade. You see where this is going? Gameplay keeps looping over and over, so I figured it would be a decent interpretation of the theme. So after getting a sip of some nice water, I started off by creating a new Unity project. The next thing I did was create some pretty cool player movement, and surprisingly, it worked out pretty well. The next thing I did was try to add a gun. I wrote a little script that made it point towards the mouse and made it shoot when the mouse was clicked. And as you can see, it worked perfectly the first try without any trouble. After spending a few hours fixing that, it was time to go to bed. When I got back from my plans on Saturday morning, it was about 3 o'clock. With only about 6 hours left in the day, I knew I would have to work a lot, so I put on my coding hat and started programming. Alright, after that sweet montage, I have the weapon done and I've added some cool camera movement along with it. Now it's time for me to draw some sorry excuses for sprites. And because I'm so bad at art, I'm going to show you my process so that you know what not to do. I start off by making a blob with the ellipse and shape tool, and then I make more blobs, and bam, we have ourselves this abomination of a player. After that's done, I drew a pistol which honestly looks like a laser tag gun. Now, a laser pistol is useless without lasers, so I drew a line and called it a day. Finally, I needed an enemy, so I came up with this pink masterpiece. After all that was done, I brought everything into the game and added some post-processing. Now, it still looks bad, but it looks better than it did before, so that's a win in my book. But that was a lot of work, so I decided to take a break. When I got back, I decided to add a timer. If you remember from my confusing explanation of Johnny Upgrade earlier, the player dies when they run out of time. I really like that idea, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I started by importing a cool font and started to create a timer script, and it worked perfectly the first try with no issues whatsoever. After fixing those errors, I got to work on some particle effects. I figured because the lasers were blue, I should make the particles blue. Yeah, smart, I know. So I got to work, and here's the result. After a long day of coding, I decided I was too tired to keep working, so I went to sleep. On Sunday, the compo was set to end at 6, so I needed to work fast if I wanted to meet the deadline. I started the day by polishing some stuff, and when I was done, I decided to add some coins to the game. In Krita, I drew 3 circles, combined them, and then called it a coin. I slapped it into Unity, did some coding, and bam, now we have coins. Next, I decided to implement upgrades because they're a pretty massive part of the game. I don't have much footage for this, but basically, I created a menu, did some coding, and spent hours trying to make it work properly. When I was done, I was happy with the result, but unfortunately, I missed the deadline for the compo. Lucky for me, the jam ended 24 hours later, so I had some more time to work on the game. I ended the day by fixing some bugs and polishing some stuff, and around 10 o'clock, I decided to check out for the night. Alright, so in the morning I had almost no time to work before school, but I did my best to fix some more bugs with the upgrading system, and it seemed to work fine, so I left it as it was. After school, I only had about 2 hours before I had to go do some stuff, so I had to stick on my coding hat and work really fast. After slapping together a level with duct tape and glitter glue, adding some audio, and creating music, I was ready to submit my game. But that would have to wait because I had some plans. When I got back, I had an hour to submit my game and managed to make the deadline. I won't show much gameplay because you can just go over to my itch.io or my Ludum Dare submission page, links in the description. Also, if you don't feel like downloading anything, no worries because there's a web version. Alright boys and girls, thanks for watching. Hit like if you liked, also hit like if you disliked, and give my game 5 stars, link in the description. Also, please don't check out my horrible source code. Alright, remember to stay healthy and have a great week.